Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome back to another episode here on the YouTube channel. In today's episode, we will be having a big game in the league. I'm going to be playing Chelsea at the end of the transfer window, and we will give you also Arsenal as well as a double header. And then in the episode after, I'm going to give you Manchester City as its own single game, because we're currently fighting for the title, and we're currently 4 points clear of Chelsea, who is the major part of today's episode. If we win all these games we're going to give you here, we're going to be winning the title, and that's what makes the next part of what we're going to talk about so excruciating hard to make a decision. With that being said, we are live on stream. It's the second night in a row that I've streamed, which is incredible for Football Manager. Definitely not going to continue moving forward. Just been playing that much poker, need a bit of time off. But if you are enjoying the content, we are getting back to probably trying to upload a video every couple of days now and trying to finish off this save before we focus on Damo Does England. That was more of just making sure we got content out for January. Give it a like, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Without further ado, we're here early because A, we just screwed the pooch against Leicester, and since we last met, we've actually been pretty good. But B, Moriba's got a bid. And I've just rejected a bid from Koulibaly, which was over 140 million. We said no. I have got a bid here for Dominguez worth 135 million, negotiable from Bayern Munich. But I've already told my Twitch stream, etc., that I am happy to keep him here for the foreseeable future. You know, his contract isn't out to 2036, which is 4 years. And I've just rejected 118 million for Cunnington from Chelsea, who's our direct title rival this season. A, because they're our title rival. B, because I think he's one of the best centre-backs in the league. And C, because we bought him for 190k from Ebbsfleet and I want him in the title with him. I'm not selling him unless Chelsea come back in and give me 140, 150 million more than what I sold Riga for. And that's because we don't need the money. And Dominguez is the best goalkeeper in the game, according to the game. So, with that being said, I'm not planning on selling him either, and I'll hold them all here to ransom till we win the title, because I think we can win the title this year, considering that we are 4 points clear. We do have Man City with a game in hand, but would still be top if they won that. I'm not planning on selling any of these guys. However, Moriba's a little bit different. Now, I've got to say first things first. In terms of Football Manager players, and players that will get into my best ever 11, Moriba's in the conversation for what he did at Metz, right? So there's a little bit of bias towards Moriba, because what I remember him doing when I signed him on a free from Barcelona in France, in games where I'd go undefeated and beat PSG home and away, and this guy from Mazzala, in a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 would go ballistic. He'd score goals for days from outside the box. But that was a Moriba that back a couple FMs ago always grew into a world-class player. This is a Moriba that does not now. Now, some games, if you get him early or you manage Leipzig, you can definitely still develop into a world-class player. But right now, he's not, right? He is probably arguably my best centre midfielder on the tap because he ticks a lot of boxes. And we know that when he does play for me, he puts in a good shift. He's always in the right area and has got 8 goal contributions in 15 games. There's nothing to be hard-nosed about. So if we put into the fact that I love him and the fact that he's playing well and he's a consistent performer, if you have a look at his coach report, and he's big in the terms of the hierarchy, he's not like the top hierarchy, but if you go in the hierarchy, he's here. This is an easy no sell. However, there's a few things that go against him. I'm going to show you guys a few things, and we're going to talk about the decision. Moriba is 3-star. 3-star is a good Premier League player. Now, don't get me wrong, that's pretty okay. And, the only other 3-star player is Koulibaly, and then on his day he's 3.5-star, etc. He is notably outside of Koulibaly, Destiny Udogie. He's notably outside of Destiny Udogie, who swaps between 3 and 3.5-star depending on his form. That will always stay at 3-star no matter what, unless he's going and averaging more than a 7.7. So, A, we know that he's at his limit right now. Now, yes, with form, you could get to 3.5-star and be noted as a Premier League player, but Caputo's currently just scored a hat-trick in one of these games, and he's at 3.5-star, so they switch around with form. Where like a Consigli or a Herman, and if I put Consigli in his right role, these guys, no matter what their form in, are world-class because they're just so good. So what I'm trying to say is, we have a bid. It's a big bid. It's 91 million guaranteed. It's 58 front plus 16 over 4 installments of 6 months, so we're definitely going to get it over the next couple of years. We're going to get another 16 mil, which is a guaranteed 74. And then we got to wait for him to play 50 games, which, to be fair, he probably plays enough for Inter that he does that in the next 2 to 3 seasons. So if we don't win the title in the next 2 to 3 seasons, we're going to get all this money. If we do win the title in the next 2 to 3 seasons, the save could be over by then, because we could have won the FA Cup, the Premier League, the Champions League all by then. We could win all 3 this season. Is it worth selling Moriba or keeping him here for the ride right now. It all comes down to the players that I'm looking at, and I have got a few hallmarks right now in my scout priorities that we need to discuss. Now, if I was in a spot where I either A, already have won the title, I would sell him just for the sake of selling him because we already won the title. Or B, if I was in a spot where I didn't think we could win the league right now, say Man City and Liverpool had a super squad getting 95 points plus a season, and like they do in real life, and I'm constantly getting 80, 85, I'd probably sell Moriba for a guy like Roberto. Because Roberto, even though he's 2-star, 2.5-star, right, playing as a central midfielder on attack, you can see the potentials there. You can already see he's got a lot of stats at 17s, a couple of 16s, a few stats at 14s, a few at 13s. That, if this guy came in, and I know Caputo would be upset with this, but if we sold Moriba, I would play Roberto over Caputo because I think Roberto will be able to hit a world-class potential where Caputo's kind of at his limit now. And I think a guy like Roberto in 2 to 3 seasons at 21, 22 could be one of the best midfielders in world football with Premier League minutes under his belt and develop into a monster. And we could get him for less than what we sell Moriba for. But unfortunately, in that circumstance, we're waiting for 3 seasons. We can win the title now. Now, I'm not saying we buy Roberto then doesn't impact anything, etc. But it's not that we buy Roberto and we can't play Caputo as well, who could probably still get us to a Premier League title. I think if we're selling a guy that's so instinct into the system, so good in the system, and has already got 8 goal contributions in 15 games, we'd probably have to go and then buy a guy that's probably going to replicate or be better than that. So I think if we wanted to win the title this season, buying Roberto and selling Moriba would be a mistake. But I think that would be a very good long-term play. Then we talk a guy like Emilio Carreno. Now, Emilio Carreno is a little bit more developed. He's 22 years of age. He's at Barcelona. He's probably a little bit more than what we would have to sell Moriba for. He's been a Barcelona project, but if we go through everything, 6 bench appearances in 8 games, 26 bench appearances in 27, 2 bench appearances, 16 bench appearances out of 24, 9 bench appearances in 17. What I'm trying to say is that this is a guy called Emil Carreno who, yes, he's been at Barcelona long term, has never really been given a go as their starting number 8 or 10 or 6 because the game reckons he's better in the hole. I'm telling you right now, as a central midfielder attack, he ticks all the boxes you want. He can tackle. He's got great passing vision and technique. He's got pretty good mentals and pretty good physicals. He's well-rounded, and there's a lot of 14s. He reminds me a lot of what Caputo, though. A guy with good stats in areas, but a guy that has a lot of 14s that could develop. And we've already seen with Caputo, if we go back to Caputo, that the fact that I'm not talking about him getting into the starting 11 kind of shows you that I just don't think he's the guy ready for us just yet. I think, don't get me wrong, I love having him off the bench. I think at 6'1" with those physicals, he dominates a lot of games. He gets in good areas. But I don't think you want him starting. I think you want him as a player off the bench. Same over Emil. I always got to look at him and go, is he the guy that really you want to start? Is he the guy that you want to bring off the bench and have been playing in those games where you rotate? Firstly. Secondly, what I will say about him is, in the positive sense, is as a central midfielder on attack, right, with the stats that he has at 14s and the PA that he has, you take a guy like Jared Cunnington, right? Never, ever, ever looked like he was going to hit his potential. And then once he turned 23, 24, immediate big growth, one of those late bloomers, and now he looks destined to become one of the best Premier League centre-backs to be in the league and be in the media dream 11. And he looks destined to be one of England's best players. And he looks destined to be one of the best centre-backs in the world. We bought him from Ebbsfleet for 190k. Emil Carreno is someone that, if we bought him and played him from now, which is what I would do, I'll commit to the cause. I think with Premier League minutes starting week in, week out, in 2 seasons' time, you're going to have one of the best centre midfielders in the world. My only issue with that is he's going to be a well-rounded centre midfielder. He's not going to be the attacking, aggressive centre midfielder. And when you come to think about the team, you've got one of the best 6s in the world. You arguably probably want 2 guys that are a little bit more forward-thinking in front, Desiree being one. Moriba arguably isn't, but is very balanced. And maybe the balancedness helps in the centre mid on attack. And then there's the rogue pick, but the pick that I like probably the most is Dimitri Dedis. Now, he's more of a shadow striker or a winger, but he can play in here. As a Mazzala on attack more than a central midfielder on attack, as the game would tell you, it's because he can't hit a long shot and his tackling is only 10. But what he does have is pace and speed in abundance, with agility. You know, he already got 18 agility, balanced with 19 pace, with 17 stamina and 15 acceleration, with 15 dribbling, can finish when in the air, and we've seen Moriba get into a lot of good areas, with 15 vision and 16 technique, and 16 leadership, which is also important, with 17 flair with that sort of pace. You're telling me that when Moriba gets into the opportunity to score and scores one in every three, that this guy doesn't get in the area and score? Also remember that if we play to Mazzala on attack, he buys into Consigli's role, but obviously the centre mid on attack on get further forward, as you see Moriba gets in the half space, sometimes gets beyond Herman, and then is the last man, and then beats the man, and then has an opportunity to score. I think Dedes for 78 million is a guy that, as a star rating in the match system, in the team selection, is not going to look good, but a guy that you know when he's in the match engine is probably going to break it and be overperforming it. And I think at 20 years of age, he's only going to get better. Premier League minutes, coming into a world-class facility with world-class players. This is a guy that we could bring in. And if it goes wrong, he's still a good footballer. And worst comes to worst, we buy another central midfielder later, next season, if we don't win the title, and he's your backup right winger. Or B, it goes right. This guy's a centre mid on attack's a revelation. He scores 10 goals in the next 15 games. You win the league, and you win it easy. And Dimitri Dedes could lead you to a Champions League title. It's a close decision. But it's a decision where, Moriba, I love you. You're on your way. Dimitri Dedes, let's go get you. Let's see what we can do. Only wants to be a rotation player, which I think is wild. But there we go. One out one way, one out the other. That is just what we're going to have to do. Squad play regular, important. Got to remove that. Negotiate 150 mil. He wants 275k a week. Definitely not going to happen. Right, he's still going to get 275k a week, but I think for a guy like this, you got to do it. So, in big news, it's Moriba out, and it's Dimitri Dedes in. He's going to have quite a handful of games to get ready and get gelled with the team. You know, if we bring him in now, he's going to get West Ham. He's probably not going to get West Ham by now, and he probably won't get Juventus. But what he will get before Chelsea is he's probably going to get Birmingham. He's going to get Villarreal. He's going to get Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton. But more importantly for me, by the time we get to Liverpool, he would have been embedded, or Man City. He would have had a few games to get up the scratch in the Premier League. I would have loved a bit more of an easier run, but I think that is a decision that we have to make. We have to sell Moriba, and we have to bring in Dimitri Dedes. Let me know what you would have done here, YouTube. That's gone on for 13 minutes. So instead of giving you a double header, what I am going to do is just give you the Chelsea game as its first versus second, and I might recap the Arsenal result at the start of next episode for you as well. It's a sad time, lads. Moriba is out the door. We wish him all the very best. What a player. And in his last ever game for us in the Premier League, he did come off the bench against Juventus, who we just played and beat with a rotated side. He went ballistic and got man of the match in the 2-0 win against West Ham. His last ever thing that he did for the football club was a man of the match performance and the sealer in an 85th minute. Was it a special goal? No. But was it a goal that kind of sums up the season he was having? Yes. A season where he's getting in the box, he's getting in the right areas, and that centre mid on attack, and hoping for what is going to happen, as you can see him head the ball into an open net, is going to be Dedes getting in these areas because he's a very naturally gifted player moving forward. And that is correct. He is officially here. If you have a look at him and bring him straight into the team, Dimitri Dedes, if I went and picked my best 11, not my rotation, best 11, for instance, Dimitri Dedes comes straight in as a central midfielder on attack. Now, the game's going to tell me, no, he's no good in that role. I'm telling you right now, with the stats that he has, he will be a monster on centre mid on attack. And I'm hoping that we're going to see that in the not-too-distant future. And by the time we come back for Chelsea, hopefully against Birmingham and Villarreal, he's played a start in both, got a goal, and has got some confidence and ready to go for that Chelsea game. First versus second, Ange Postecoglou is in charge of Chelsea, which worries me. They're a team on the rise. They weren't predicted to finish inside or in and around the title fight. They were a team predicted to finish 5th. And I guess we were predicted to finish 6th, and here we are. In terms of results since we last met, Juve we beat, Birmingham we beat Villarreal. Dimitri Dedes, people wondering how he's gone. Not a goal, but solid, in his first couple of games. Villarreal got an assist, 7.0 in his first game, 6.0 in the second. Looked okay. Completed some good amount of passes. I'm hoping that what we see here against Chelsea is the start of him doing very well in the league for us and getting us towards this title, because he's going to start here today. Unfortunately, there is an injury to Arthur, which is not good. He's out 3 to 5 weeks. Brought Jordan Shaw off the bench in the Champions League, and he did keep a clean sheet, which is nice. But he's ineligible, unfortunately, due to the fact that we do not have a goalkeeper on the bench. So I'm going to bring to the bench Arthur and play no goalkeeper. And if a goalkeeper needs to play, I'm going to just bring on like Andrea Lorenzi in or something like that. So I'm going to put my tallest player in goal. But that's the team there. So our team is going to be Dominguez, Robertson, Cunnington, Parsons, your doggy, Koulibaly, Desiree Dou, Dedes in his live com debut, and a big game that is against Chelsea's Premier League debut too. Consigli Jr. and Josh Hammond is, of course, up front. Our form's been a little bit, teetering away. Not really. What I'm trying to say is that, that's a goal from a centre mid and a centre back. A couple of goals from Mohamed. Mohamed has been pretty good. The first team, boys, even that win against Birmingham went pretty full strength. Right, Giancarlos Oliveira from centre back scored. Herman scored 1 but missed 3. And Mohamed scored off the bench. The full string 11, hasn't really been going well. Like Junior, Consigli, and Josh Herman really been struggling for it to all click together of late. Don't know if that's because Herman was out injured for a while and it's been a bit of chop and change up there. Where if you look at the bench, Caputo's got 9 goals, Neshri's at 7.36, Mohamed's up to 10 goals this season as well. Lorenzi's got 5 goals off the bench from centre-back. A lot of the goals are coming from the second string side, which I guess when they're playing against the weaker sides, that kind of happens. Anyway, let's go through this Chelsea side and see what sort of squad it looks like, because Chelsea haven't really been fighting for a title in this save, let alone Europe. So, yeah. Kobel net looks fantastic. Reece James at 32 still looks very, very good. Antonio Silva's 28 and is in absolutely prime condition. Benny Badiashile at 30 still looks prime. And Gianluca Belfiore looks very well rounded as a fullback with world-class potential. Sacedo's obviously world-class. Enzo Fernandez obviously world-class. Florian Wirtz is a great pickup for them. Angelo on the right is superb. I've used him on FM. Mudrik's grown into a very good winger. And Endrick from Real Madrid is up front, and he looks elite. So, yeah, that's a pretty good team. Bibi, who I chose not to sign because I signed Dominguez, has not his potential. He looked like he could have been a world-class keeper. Seems to have stagnated. Still is 22. But I think if we bought him over Dominguez, he would have become one of the world's best keepers. Nicholas Jackson, who's arguably their best striker, according to the pre-game, what I answered, definitely not over Endrick, definitely wouldn't, but could maybe get a chance. Levi Colwell generally grows into a fantastic fullback and centre-back. Arguably could be getting a start, but, I think he's more for someone after Reece James retires. Walter is not ready because he's been on international duty. Ange Postecoglou, though, look at the form. Win. Telling you guy right now in this title fight, we can get a draw against Chelsea, draw against Man City, draw against Arsenal, draw against Liverpool, draw against Man United, win the rest. We'll probably win the title because we didn't give up enough points against the rest of the teams. And that's me being a bit pessimistic. We're good enough to be beating these sides as well. We have a very good history against a Chelsea side at Stamford Bridge or at home. Against Ange Postecoglou, though, he's the man that beat me with Leicester when he was at Leicester in the FA Cup semi-final 2 seasons ago. So not a good record against Ange, which has to be said. He's a world-class manager. What can you do? All right, here we go. Hopefully in this game we just see Dimitri Dedes go ballistic, and the reason why we signed him for 78 million and we sold Moriba. But off we go. 65% possession here, 24 minutes in, which against an Ange Postecoglou side is a very good feat in its own. But a game that hasn't really had too much. And this has kind of been the norm of us lately, is we just seem to be not creating enough chances early on to be getting games away. But so far, 38 minutes played, we've been the better team, but nothing really to talk about. Approaching half-time here in a game that's kind of flown away here. I'm happy with the possession, but I'm not happy with the chances. I'm going to actually thrash the arms and tell him I'm far from pleased. Okay. I was thinking about giving him... The one that came up, you haven't had enough shots, I would tell him, but because we're out shooting our opponents, even though there's only 4 shots in the half from us, I can't say it. Anyhow, time ticks away here. Man City currently beating Leeds 2-0, which, they have a game in hand. We drop points here. It becomes very close up top. Approaching the 60-minute mark. It's a free kick here. Dominguez has to be alert. Probably Enzo Fernandez? Nah, it's Umat. Good free kick. Blocked. Falls to Antonio Silva. Badiashile. Salcedo. Out to Umat. Beats a man, gets in the area. Numbers QE, Nicholas Jackson, we're 1-0 down. Wow, in a big game where we're looking to win the title, we are 1-0 down to Chelsea, hit Stamford Bridge, lose this game, and things becomes interesting, close, and... That is not good. 1-0 down. Good teams find a way, hey? Good teams find a way. Junior's going to come off for Ben Doak. I think that's fine. Dimitri Dedis has not had the best of the game. I'm going to bring Caputo in. I think that's going to be an okay move too. I think Cunnington's going to come off here for Giancarlos, just mainly to keep him happy. To be fair, Josh Herman's not had a good game. Nor has Consigli. I'm going to bring Mohamed and Nestri on because they've been scoring goals. Bang, let's go. That's a big call. It's a big call. To take off your 2 star players to bring in 2 guys that are on your bench as rotation options that have been scoring. And here goes Mohamed. Finds Ben Doak, who arguably could start but never has the fitness to last 90. Mohamed. Tactical genius. You make the changes straight away. The substitutes link up. It's 1-1. Within a minute, they have absolutely annihilated Chelsea. Doak on the counter press. Great 1-2 football to allow the space for Ben Doak. And then the numbers in the box of Caputo, Mohamed, and Nestri Irukunda. And there we go. That is 1-1. And that's why having a world-class bench is important. And we just got FM'd. Destry, you doggies, come off. We have no substitutions left. We just got FM'd. Are you fucking for real? Okay. Giancarlos Oliveira going to go out to left back. He's going to go as a wing back on support. Koulibaly can play centre back as a ball playing defender on cover. I don't have a defensive midfielder, really, on the park. I'm trying to think if one of these guys can play DM. I don't think either of them can. Wow. To go down to 10 men because of an injury just smells of FM cheese. This is going to be a big call, boys, but I'm actually going to make a different sort of change. I'm going to go in Secunda Volante on support and a Secunda Volante on support. I'm also going to waste some time here as well. Get him to drop back into defensive midfield, but still look to get forward because their stats support that. Injury to Destiny, your doggy. Not good. He's had to play so much minutes because Walter's been away with the Brazilian the Argentinian under 23s. I would take a draw now with 10 men if I could, please, Football Manager. Look, 10 men for 15 plus minutes plus the 8 minutes of injury time, and I have the substitutes come on and score. That's a big point. Everything was against us there. That is a big point. That's fair, boys. We're not happy with the performance, but with the result, we'll take that. That's a point gained instead of 3 points lost. He's out with a twisted ankle. That's not too long. That should be a 2 to 4 week injury. And there we are. That leaves things a little bit more precarious than the league title, but it's okay. It is okay. There's not much we can do about that. With that being said, though, guys, that's going to be the end of this episode now. You guys give it a like, do subscribe to the new YouTube channel. Next episode will be in 2 games' time as we play Manchester City in what will be the game of first versus second. But then, hopefully, City have had their game in hand. We'll know if they won or lost, and we'll either be level on points with us, or we'll be a couple points or 2 points behind, or 3 points behind. With that being said, we have got a better goal difference, but City could pump the size that they have in hand, and then thus, obviously, be ahead of us on goal difference. That point is not a great point, but like I said, if we draw to Chelsea there, we draw to Manchester City, you know, we maybe should look to maybe beat Arsenal because it's at home. You know, we got, Liverpool coming up later in the season, which I know they're not having their best of year. Yeah, we got Man City next episode, and the episode after that, we've got a Liverpool, Manchester City, and a Spurs triple header, but it'll be Liverpool, Man United double header running in towards April. And that will set us up for what's going to be the league title. In between all of that, we will have Champions League football. If we get a good draw in the Champions League round of 16, I think we're going to pump the team first leg, and we do. We will only see the goals, and we'll get into the Premier League because we haven't won that. Obviously, we'll play that all by ear. We get a big draw, then we're going to give you that game as well. There's going to be a fascinating end to the season. Give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you, and goodbye.